In the darkest corners of the galaxy, there are hunters and there are soldiers. There are creatures evolved to kill, and there are warriors forged to conquer. But what happens when the ultimate trophy hunter from the silver screen crosses paths with the galaxy's deadliest transhuman warrior from the 41st millennium? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we aren't just comparing stats on a wiki page. We are simulating a nightmare scenario. We are pitting a Yautja the Predator against a member of the Adeptus Astartes. But we aren't using a generic ultramarine for this test. No, that would be too loud, too obvious. We are looking at the Raptors chapter. The masters of guerrilla warfare. The silent killers of the Imperium who value efficiency over glory. Can an alien hunter take down a super soldier who was bred to kill gods? To answer that, we first have to strip away the power armor, remove the plasma casters, and look at the monsters underneath. Before we talk about guns, we need to talk about biology. Because in a fight like this, if your technology fails, your muscles have to finish the job. Let's begin with the challenger, the Yautja. To the average human, a predator is a monster. But biologically, they are a marvel of evolution. Originating from the planet Yautja Prime, these creatures didn't just evolve to survive. They evolved to dominate. We are looking at a humanoid species that stands over 7 feet tall, sometimes reaching 8 feet in the case of super predators or elders. But height is just a number. The terrifying reality of a Yautja lies in its density. Yautja Prime is a world of extreme environments, likely possessing higher gravity than Earth. This means a predator's skeletal structure isn't just bone. It's a composite material that rivals industrial metals in durability. Their muscle fibers are woven densely, allowing them to perform feats of strength that seem impossible for a biological creature. We have seen them shatter concrete with a bare fist. We have seen them rip the spine and skull out of a fully grown human male with a single jerking motion, a feat that requires not just grip strength, but enough torque in the arm and back to sever vertebrae and tear through muscle instantly. They are resilient to radiation, immune to most Earth-borne viruses. And their blood, that iconic glowing green phosphorescent fluid, has properties that suggest a base chemistry completely different from our own, possibly allowing for rapid oxygenation or neutralizing toxins. A predator can fall from a skyscraper, land on its feet, and keep running. They are, in every sense of the word, an apex organism. They are still mortal. They are born. They grow. They age. Now, let's look at the opponent. The Adeptus Astartes. The Space Marine. If the predator is the pinnacle of natural evolution, the Space Marine is the pinnacle of unnatural engineering. A Raptor Space Marine is not born. He is forged. He starts as a human adolescent, but that humanity is stripped away, layer by layer, through a process of bioalchemy that the Emperor of Mankind designed to reconquer the galaxy. Let's look under the skin of a raptor. It starts with the os medulla. This gene-seed organ is implanted into the chest, and it releases a complex cocktail of hormones that hardens the skeleton. A Space Marine's bones are not calcium. They are a biological ceramic. They grow larger, denser, and fuse together. The rib cage transforms into a solid, interlocking plate of bone that can stop small arms fire even without armor. Then comes the biscopia. This organ stimulates muscle growth to a level that is essentially biological hydraulic machinery. A Space Marine stands 7 to 8 feet tall, matching the predator in height, but his mass is significantly higher. We are talking about a being that weighs upwards of 300 to 500 kilograms naked. That is half a ton of dense gene-forged muscle and bone. So, let's talk about raw strength. This is where the debate often gets heated. On screen, we see predators lifting heavy steel gates, flipping cars, and throwing humans like ragdolls. They are incredibly strong. A Yautja can likely bench press in the realm of 1 to 2 tons comfortably. They are grappling monsters. If a predator gets his hands on you, you are broken. But the Space Marine? The lore of Warhammer 40,000 puts them in a different weight class entirely. Even without his power armor, which boosts his strength exponentially, a naked Space Marine is capable of crushing a normal human skull with the pressure of his fingers alone. There are accounts of unarmored Astartes bending steel bars, punching through plascrete walls, and holding up collapsing tunnel ceilings. When you compare the raw tonnage, the Space Marine edges out the Predator. The Predator is an athlete. The Space Marine is a biological bulldozer. The Astartes physiology is designed for total war, not just hunting. His muscles don't fatigue the way organic muscles should. He can exert maximum force for hours, whereas a Predator, while strong, operates more like a sprinter, explosive bursts of power followed by recovery. And this brings us to a terrifying realization about this matchup. If this fight were a wrestling match, stripped of all weapons and armor, the Predator is in trouble. The Yautja is used to overpowering its prey. It is used to being the strongest thing in the room. When it hunts humans, or even xenomorphs, it relies on that physical dominance to bully the opponent. But against a raptor, the Predator would reach out to grab the Marine, expecting to overpower him, and would instead find himself gripping an immovable object. The shock on the hunter's face when he realizes he cannot budge the Marine's arm would be the last thing he ever sees. The Raptor would likely be able to crush the Predator's wrist, shatter his ribs, or tear a limb off with sheer brute force. However, biology isn't just about how much you can lift. It's about how much punishment you can take. The Predator is durable. We've seen them take shotgun blasts to the chest, survive electrocution, and keep fighting after losing a limb. They have a warrior's tolerance for pain. They roar, they get angry, and they push through. But the Space Marine? He doesn't just tolerate pain. He biochemically switches it off. The Laraman's organ creates instant scar tissue, sealing wounds in seconds to prevent blood loss. The olytic kidney filters poisons and toxins that would kill an elephant instantly. A Space Marine can lose an arm, have half his face blown off, and his heart punctured, and he will not go into shock. He will simply calculate the most efficient way to kill you with his remaining hand. So, as we close out part 1 of this breakdown, the verdict on biology is clear. The Yautja is a magnificent specimen, a hunter evolved to perfection. But the Space Marine is a violation of nature. He is stronger, heavier, and harder to kill, but raw strength is rarely the deciding factor in a hunt. The Predator knows he can't wrestle a tank. He isn't stupid. He is a master tactician with thousands of years of hunting culture behind him. He doesn't play fair. The Predator has speed. He has agility. And most importantly, he has an arsenal of weapons that can turn a tank into slag. In the next part, we are going to look at the minds of these killers. We're going to analyze their speed, their reflexes, and their senses. Can the Space Marine hit a target he can't see? Can the Predator dodge a bullet that explodes on impact? You might think the Space Marine has this in the bag, but wait until we talk about reaction times. The Predator might be slower on the bench press, but he is a blur in the trees. In our first segment, we established that in a contest of brute strength and bone density, the Space Marine is a biological bulldozer that outclasses the Predator. But if history and nature has taught us anything, it's that the strongest creature doesn't always win. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was strong, but it couldn't box with a raptor. Strength is useless if you cannot hit your target. Strength is a liability if you are too slow to react to a blade sliding between your ribs. So, let's talk about speed. Let's talk about reflexes. And let's talk about the mental fortitude required to keep fighting when your body is broken. First, let's look at the Yautja. If you watch the footage from the archives, the encounters in the jungles of Val, Verde, or the streets of Los Angeles, you see that the Predator is an acrobat. Despite weighing hundreds of pounds, they move with a fluid, terrifying grace. They are masters of verticality. A predator can leap 20 feet into the air, grab a tree branch, and disappear into the canopy in the blink of an eye. They have been documented dodging automatic gunfire at close range, weaving through bullets with a dexterity that suggests their perception of time might be slightly faster than a human's. The predator fights like a dancer. It relies on evasion, deflection, and misdirection. In a melee, they are a whirlwind of blades, using their opponent's momentum against them. Against a standard human soldier, or even a xenomorph, this agility is overwhelming. You simply cannot track them. Now, look at the Space Marine. When you see a 7-foot-tall, armored behemoth, you expect him to move like a forklift. You expect him to be slow, lumbering, and clumsy. This is the greatest mistake the enemies of the Imperium ever make. It is a phenomenon known in the lore as transhuman dread. Imagine a main battle tank. Now imagine that tank sprinting at you at 60 miles per hour, reacting to your movements faster than a striking cobra. That is a Space Marine. Their speed is unnatural. It induces a psychological shock in unaugmented humans because the brain refuses to accept that something so large can move so fast. A Space Marine does not do parkour. He doesn't need to swing from branches. He runs through walls. His reaction times are governed by a nervous system that has been chemically supercharged. We aren't talking about dodging bullets. We are talking about perceiving the trajectory of a projectile and slapping it out of the air. There are combat records of Astartes parrying hypersonic bolter rounds with combat knives. In a contest of speed, the Predator has the advantage in agility and gymnastics. He can move in 3 dimensions better than the Marine. But in terms of combat reflexes, the ability to see a strike coming and counter it, the Raptor Space Marine is superior. The Predator operates on instinct and training. The Marine operates on biological processing power that borders on a computer. But what happens when speed fails? What happens when the blade connects? This brings us to durability and healing. We know the Yautja are tough. We have seen them stitch themselves up in the middle of a battle using advanced medical kits. They grunt, they roar, they cauterize wounds with blue gels and heat. They have a warrior's tolerance for pain. But they do feel pain. It slows them down. A wounded predator becomes desperate. A bleeding predator leaves a trail. The Space Marine, however, possesses the Laraman's organ. This is the game changer in a battle of attrition. Let's say the predator manages to land a strike with his wrist blades. He cuts deep into the Marine's arm. In a normal organism, blood pressure drops, the limb weakens, and shock sets in. In a raptor, the Laraman's organ instantly releases a flood of superclotting cells called Laraman cells. These cells form an instant layer of scar tissue over the wound, sealing it in seconds. The bleeding stops before it barely begins. The Marine does not go into shock. In fact, his armor will automatically administer combat stimulants and painkillers, meaning the Marine likely won't even register the injury as anything more than data. Furthermore, the Astartes possess the catalepsia node. This implant allows them to fight for weeks without sleep, shutting down parts of their brain sequentially to rest while staying fully awake and combat ready. The Predator needs to rest. The Marine is a relentless, sleepless engine of violence. Finally, we must discuss the mind. The intellect. The Predator is smart. They are intergalactic travelers with a culture built entirely around hunting. They understand tactics, traps, and psychology. They learn their prey's weaknesses. They are honorable in their own twisted way. They often refuse to kill unarmed or pregnant targets. They seek a worthy kill, a challenge to prove their worth. The Raptor Space Marine does not care about honor. This is why the specific choice of the Raptors chapter is so important for this matchup. If this were a space wolf, he might roar a challenge and try to duel the Predator. If it were an ultramarine, He might stand in the open and quote the Codex Astartes. But a raptor? The raptors are the pragmatists of the Adeptus Astartes. They are the masters of the ambush. They do not seek glory. They do not scream battle cries. They believe that the best fight is the one where the enemy never sees you. They are essentially super soldier special forces. They use camouflage, they use suppression, and they use unfair advantages. The predator is used to hunting prey that runs, or prey that fights back in a rage. He is not used to hunting a prey that analyzes his patrol patterns, calculates the refraction of his cloak, and sets a trap 3 miles down the road. The predator fights for the thrill of the hunt. The raptor fights to exterminate the target with maximum efficiency. One is playing a game. The other is doing a job. So, where does this leave us at the end of part 2? We have a predator who is agile, resilient, and cunning. We have a Raptor Space Marine who has superior reaction times, instant healing, and a tactical mindset that values killing over fighting. Biologically and mentally, the Space Marine is the superior combatant. The predator is outclassed in the physical realm. But the predator didn't come to this planet to wrestle. He didn't come here to run a race. He came here with technology that is thousands of years more advanced than anything humanity possesses today. He has a weapon on his shoulder that harnesses the power of a star. He has a cloak that bends light itself. In the next part, we open the armory. It's the Plasmacaster versus the Bolter. It's the Smart Disc versus the Combat Knife. And most importantly, we are going to answer the question that decides this entire fight. Can the Predator's cloak actually hide him from a Space Marine's helmet sensors? Or is the Predator walking into the jungle wearing a "shoot me" sign? We have established that the Space Marine is a biological nightmare, superior in strength, reaction time, and durability. If this were a fistfight in a parking lot, the Predator would be broken in half within seconds. But the Yautja do not conquer galaxies with their bare hands. They are a technological civilization that has mastered space travel and energy weapons, while humanity was still figuring out how to sharpen sticks. In this part, we open the armory. We are going to look at the weapons these warriors bring to the kill zone, and more importantly, how those weapons interact with the armor or lack thereof of their opponent. Let's start with the Predator's signature weapon, the Plasmacaster, mounted on the shoulder and tracking with the user's head movement. This is the great equalizer in this matchup. It fires bolts of superheated ionized gas plasma. In the lore, we have seen this weapon blow giant holes in human torsos, melt through thick jungle foliage, and even damage the hulls of small starships. Against a normal human, a Plasmacaster is overkill. Against a Space Marine, it is a necessity. Space Marines wear power armor made of ceramite. Ceramite is a ceramic-based material designed specifically to be heat-resistant and impact-resistant. It is incredible at dispersing thermal energy. Lasguns, which fire laser beams, often leave little more than scorch marks on a Marine's armor. However, plasma is different. In the Warhammer 40k universe, plasma weapons are the dedicated can openers for heavy armor. Plasma burns hot enough to turn ceramite into slag. If the Predator lands a direct, fully charged shot from the Plasmacaster onto the Space Marine, it will penetrate. It might not kill the Marine instantly if it hits a limb or a non-vital area, but it will burn through the armor and cauterize the flesh beneath. This makes the Predator a glass cannon in this fight. He has the firepower to kill the Marine, but he has to land the shot perfectly. Now, let's look at the rest of the Yautja kit. The wrist blades. These serrated, extendable gauntlets are forged from a refined alien alloy that is incredibly light and sharp. They can cut through modern steel like butter. But can they cut ceramite? This is debatable. Ceramite is incredibly dense. A glancing blow from wrist blades would likely just scratch the paint. To penetrate the armor, the Predator would need to drive the blades into the soft joints of the armor, the neck, the armpits, the back of the knees. This requires precision, And as we established in Part 2, getting that close to a Space Marine is a death sentence. The Predator also carries the Smart Disc and the Combi Stick. The Smart Disc is a homing weapon, razor sharp. Against unarmored targets, it's a slaughter. Against a Space Marine, it might embed itself in the armor, but it's unlikely to deliver a fatal blow unless it strikes the eye lenses or the neck seal. Now let's turn the table. What is the Raptor Space Marine carrying? The standard issue weapon of the Adeptus Astartes is the Godwin pattern bolter. To call it a gun is an insult. It is a handheld rocket launcher. It fires a .75 caliber projectile. That is roughly the size of a Red Bull can. These shells are mass reactive. This means they are designed to penetrate the target's armor. And then, milliseconds after entering the body, they detonate. The Predator wears a mesh bodysuit and localized armor plating. This armor is designed for mobility and hunting. It is not designed for total war. It offers decent protection against small arms and melee attacks, but against a bolter? It might as well be wet paper. If a Space Marine pulls the trigger, and a bolter round connects with the Predator's chest, the result is horrific. The shell will punch through the mesh, enter the chest cavity, and explode. It won't just leave a hole. It will liquefy the internal organs. A single center mass hit is a kill. Even a hit to a limb would blow that limb clean off. And we must remember who is pulling the trigger. The Raptors chapter are marksmen. They prioritize marksmanship over melee. They often use stalker pattern bolters, silenced, scoped variants with subsonic ammunition for stealth kills. A Raptor doesn't spray and pray. He puts a single round through the eye socket from 300 meters away. But the Space Marine's greatest weapon isn't his gun. It's his protection. The Mark 10 Tacticus power armor is a marvel of engineering. It acts as a second skin. Through the black carapace, subcutaneous membrane implanted under the Marine's skin, the armor plugs directly into his nervous system. He doesn't wear the armor. He is the armor. It moves as fast as he does. It provides life support, combat stimulants, and recoil suppression. The Predator is a hunter wearing gear. The Space Marine is a walking tank. So, let's summarize the tools of destruction matchup. The Predator has one primary win condition, the Plasmacaster. It is the only weapon in his standard arsenal that can reliably penetrate the Marine's defenses at range. He needs to stay mobile, stay hidden, and land a critical hit with that cannon. The Space Marine, however, has a weapon that is a one-shot kill against the Predator. And unlike the slow-moving plasma bolt, a bolter round is hypersonic. It is much harder to dodge. On paper, this looks like a blowout. The Marine is harder to kill and carries a weapon that obliterates the Predator. But weapons are useless if you cannot find your target. The Predator has one piece of technology we haven't discussed yet. The one thing that has allowed them to hunt species far stronger and more dangerous than themselves for millennia. The cloak, invisibility, the ability to vanish into thin air, to strike from nowhere. The Predator relies on this more than anything else. If the Space Marine cannot see him, the Space Marine cannot shoot him. But here is the million-dollar question. Does the Predator's cloak actually work against 41st Millennium technology? The Predator hides from human eyes. He hides from thermal cameras. But can he hide from the autosenses of a Space Marine helmet? A helmet designed to see through smoke, magical darkness, and the electromagnetic spectrum. In Part 4, we are going to dive into the Art of Invisibility. We will analyze the Predator's stealth tech versus the Space Marine sensor suite. And the answer might just be the most terrifying part of this entire scenario for the Yautja. Is he the hunter? Or is he just walking into the jungle wearing a neon sign? We have reached the turning point of this theoretical conflict. We know the Space Marine is stronger. We know he is faster. We know his weapon is a one-shot kill. In a fair fight, the Predator dies in seconds. But the predator does not fight fair. The Yautja culture is built on the concept of the hunt, and the most important tool in a hunter's kit is the ability to see without being seen. For thousands of years, the predator has relied on his cloaking device to stalk prey far more dangerous than himself. Against human commandos, against xenomorphs, against engineers' invisibility is GODHOOD. But today, he is hunting a Raptor Space Marine. And this is where the predator makes his fatal error. He assumes that because he cannot be seen, he cannot be detected. In this part, we are going to analyze the war of the senses. The predator's stealth technology versus the Space Marine sensor. Arrays. Let's start with the predator's cloak. This technology works by bending light around the wearer's body. It renders the Yautja nearly invisible to the naked eye. However, we know from the lore and the films that it is not magic. It is technology. It has flaws. First, it creates a shimmer, a distortion in the air, like heat rising off a road. Second, it is disrupted by water and damage. Third, and most importantly, it emits a low-level electromagnetic hum. To a human eye, especially in a dense jungle, the cloak is effective. Our brains are not wired to spot that kind of distortion. We look for shapes, for colors. We miss the shimmer, but the Space Marine does not look with human eyes. When a Raptor Space Marine puts on his helmet, he is not just looking through glass lenses. He is plugging his brain into a sophisticated cogitator, known as auto-senses. This system doesn't just show the Marine the world. It interprets it. It overlays tactical data onto his vision. It highlights threats. And crucially, it scans across the entire electromagnetic spectrum. The auto-senses cycle through infrared, heat, ultraviolet, night vision, and even sonar motion tracking. If the predator's cloak bends light, it creates a visual anomaly. To a normal eye, it's a blur. To a Space Marine's helmet computer, it is a target. The helmet's machine spirit would highlight that distortion in bright red outline, tagging it as a visual anomaly or active camouflage. Furthermore, Space Marines carry an Auspex. This is a handheld or suit-integrated scanner that detects life signs, radiation, and energy emissions. The Predator's plasma caster and cloaking device run on power cells. They emit energy. An Auspex would pick up that energy signature from hundreds of meters away. So, picture this. The Predator is perched in a tree, 50 meters away, perfectly still, cloaked. He thinks he is a ghost. But to the Space Marine, looking through his glowing eye lenses, the Predator might as well be standing there, waving a flare. The Marine sees the heat haze. He detects the energy output of the plasma cannon. He hears the ultrasonic heartbeat of the alien. Predator's greatest advantage, his stealth, is rendered obsolete by the standard issue wargear of the Quozu Imperium. But the nightmare for the Predator doesn't end there. Because in this matchup, he is the one who is blind. The Yautja hunts primarily using thermal vision. We all know the iconic heat map view of the Predator. He looks for the glowing red and orange shapes of warm-blooded prey against the cool blue of the jungle. Space Marine power armor is constructed from thick plates of ceramite and plasteel. But underneath that, it is environmentally sealed. It is designed to allow a Marine to fight in the vacuum of space or the inferno of a volcano. To do that, it must be thermally insulated. It keeps heat out, but it also keeps heat in. A Space Marine, standing still in the jungle, would have a significantly reduced thermal signature compared to a normal human. His armor masks his body heat. To the Predator's thermal vision, the Marine might appear as a ghost, a cold spot in the warm jungle. Or perhaps he blends in almost perfectly with the ambient temperature. And remember, we are talking about the Raptor's chapter. If this were an Imperial fist, he would be standing in bright yellow armor, shouting challenges. But the Raptors are the reasonable Marines. They value camouflage. They paint their armor olive drab or jungle camo. They wear camilonia cloaks, a material woven with mimetic fibers that color shifts to match the surroundings. So, let's reevaluate the board. The Predator thinks he is invisible, but the Space Marine can see him through multiple spectrums. The Predator relies on thermal vision to find prey, but the Space Marine is thermally masked and wearing physical camouflage. The hunter has become the hunted. The Predator is essentially a man with a flashlight trying to play hide and seek, with a man wearing night vision goggles. The technological gap is simply too wide. The Predator's tech is advanced, but the Imperium of Man has spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of killing things that are smarter, faster, and more advanced than they are. This sets the stage for the final act. We have the stats. We have the weapons. We have the sensors. Now we have to put it all together. In the final part of this series, we are going to drop these two warriors into the simulation. A dense jungle on a feral world. Night is falling. The rain is starting to pour. The Predator believes he has found a trophy. He clicks his mandibles, readies his wrist blades, and steps into the shadows. He doesn't know that the prey detected him 10 minutes ago. He doesn't know that the prey has already calculated the windage for a bolter shot. This isn't going to be a duel. It's going to be an execution. We have analyzed the biology. We have compared the arsenals. We have debated the science of stealth and sensors. But data sheets and wiki articles do not fight battles. Mud, blood, and circumstance decide the victor. Welcome to the final chapter. It is time to run the simulation. Let us set the stage. We are on a feral world on the fringes of the halo stars. The terrain is a dense, equatorial jungle, a suffocating tangle of ironbark trees and humidity. It is night. The rain is falling in sheets, drumming against the leaves, masking sound and cooling the air. Our combatant is a solitary brother of the Raptors chapter. He is not a fresh recruit. He is a veteran of 100 campaigns. He is clad in Mark X Phobos pattern power armor, painted in drab olive and mud brown to match the environment. He wears a camilonia cloak draped over his shoulders, breaking up his silhouette. He stands perfectly motionless in a grove of trees, his bolter held tight against his chest. To the naked eye, he is just another shadow in the dark. High above, in the canopy, the challenger arrives. An elite Yautja hunter. He has traveled light years to find a trophy worthy of his clan. He scans the jungle floor. The Predator activates his thermal vision. The jungle blooms in shades of cool blue and violet. He is looking for the hot red glow of mammalian blood. But he sees nothing. The Space Marine's armor is environmentally sealed, trapping his heat signature. The Predator clicks his mandibles in frustration. He switches to tech vision, scanning for electromagnetic signatures. There, a faint, low-level pulse from the backpack of the armored giant below. The fusion reactor of the power armor gives him away, but just barely. The Predator grins behind his biomask. He engages his cloaking field. Light bends around him. He becomes a phantom, a shimmer in the rain. He begins to move, leaping from branch to branch with practiced ease, silent as a whisper. He positions himself behind the Marine, 40 feet up. He readies his plasmacaster. He wants to disable the target, to bring it down for an honorable kill with the wrist blades. The Predator believes he is the hunter. He believes he is unseen. He is wrong. Inside the helmet of the Raptor Space Marine, the world looks very different. The auto senses are scrubbing the environment 1,000 times a second. The rain is filtered out. The wind noise is dampened. The Marine is not looking with his eyes. He is looking with data. A rune blinks on his heads-up display. Motion detected. Elevation 40 feet. Sector rear. The Marine's Auspex picks up the faint energy spike of the cloaking field. It's not a clear image, but it's an anomaly. A distortion. To a mind processed by psycho-indoctrination and combat stims, an anomaly is a target. The Predator locks on. The tri-beam laser sight activates. 3 red dots appear on the Marine's helmet dot in a standard movie. This is where the target freezes in fear. But the Space Marine possesses transhuman dread. His reaction time is post-human. Before the Predator's brain can send the signal to his finger to fire the plasma cannon, the Marine pivots. He doesn't turn his head. He spins his entire body with the speed of a striking cobra. The bolter is raised. Thump. Thump. 2 mass reactive shells scream out of the barrel at hypersonic speeds. The Predator dives. His reflex is incredible, but he is dodging sound, not the projectile. The first shell misses, shattering the branch he was standing on. The second shell catches him in the mid-air tumble. It hits the Predator's thigh. This isn't a bullet wound. The bolt shell penetrates the flesh and detonates. The explosion blows the Predator's leg apart at the knee. Green blood sprays into the canopy like a mist. The cloak fails, sparking and shorting out as the Yautja crashes to the jungle floor with a wet thud. The element of surprise is gone. The hunter is broken. The Predator roars, a sound of pain and fury. He scrambles to a kneeling position, adrenaline flooding his system. He knows he is dying. He knows he has seconds. He abandons stealth. He abandons honor. He fires the plasmacaster blindly. A bolt of blue superheated plasma erupts from his shoulder cannon. It strikes the Space Marine square in the chest. Ceramite sizzles. The paint boils away. The armor plate melts, fusing into a slag of hot metal. The heat burns through the black carapace and sears the Marine's chest. It is a horrific wound, but the Marine does not fall. He does not scream. His Larraman's organ instantly clots the blood. His armor floods his veins with painkillers and combat stims. He registers the damage as a percentage of armor integrity lost, nothing more. The Marine advances. He does not run. He walks with the terrifying inevitability of a glacier. The Predator, crippled and cornered, triggers his wrist blades. He shrieks a challenge, the warrior's cry of his people. He lunges from the ground, putting every ounce of his remaining strength into a desperate uppercut. Aimed at the Marine's neck seal, it is a strike that would decapitate a xenomorph. The Space Marine catches the Predator's wrist in mid-air. The metal gauntlets of the power armor screech against the alien alloy. The Predator struggles, thrashing, but the grip is absolute. The Space Marine lifts the 7-foot alien off the ground by one arm, effortlessly. For a moment, they lock eyes. The Predator looks into the glowing red lenses of the helmet. He looks for fear. He looks for respect. He looks for the acknowledgement of a worthy opponent. He finds none. The Raptor Space Marine is not a duelist. He is not a sportsman. He is a biological exterminator. He feels no glory in killing a Xenos. He feels only the satisfaction of a task completed. The Marine raises his bolt pistol with his free hand. He presses the barrel against the Predator's biomask. There is no monologue. There is no final one-liner. Crack. The shot echoes through the jungle, silencing the birds. The Marine drops the corpse into the mud. He checks his armor diagnostics, notes the damage to his chest plate, and reloads his weapon. He taps his Vox bead. Command, this is Brother Valerius. Xenos threat neutralized. Continuing patrol. He turns and vanishes back into the shadows, leaving the ultimate hunter to rot in the rain. The verdict: a straight fight between a standard Yautja and a Raptor Space Marine. The Space Marine wins. The gap in technology, durability, and reaction speed is simply too wide. The Predator relies on tools, cloaks plasma, masks to hunt. The Space Marine is the weapon, while an elder Predator with thousands of years of experience might stand a chance. Or perhaps a full clan attacking a single Marine could bring him down. The average encounter ends only one way. The Predator collects skulls. But in the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, he is just another skull for the Golden Throne. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive. This has been a theoretical breakdown of two of sci-fi's greatest warriors. If you enjoyed this series, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments, what sci-fi legend should the Space Marines face next? A Jedi? A Spartan? Until next time, the Emperor protects.